was nice that I studied business and economics because now I have so many tools that I feel like I have the ability to go into whatever I want, whether that be finance or marketing or data analysis. Right away, we moved into the dorms. So we were surrounded by hundreds of people in the exact same position. They're all away from their parents for the first time, and all, even in harder circumstances, they may not speak Hebrew and they may not have support here. So it was hard for like a few days, and then it really was really fun once you meet everyone around you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. The Future Economist is a podcast in which I am Dr. Yael Hadass, head of economics at Reichman University, Rafael Recanati International School, is talking with my students, with faculty, with other stakeholders in the world of economics education about economic education, about the future of education, and about economics in general. And I'm very, very happy that today in the podcast I have two wonderful guests, two of my students who I already know for the third year already. And I'm very excited to have them, Adi Zetouni and Noam Zetouni, who are sisters, not only sisters, but twin sisters, for those who don't see us, that are actually now connecting from Chicago, right?
Yes, yeah.
So for you guys, it's good morning, Chicago, right?
Yes, yeah.
Here in Israel, it's already afternoon. So it's really, really lovely to have you. And I'm very, very excited you joined our podcast. And I think I would just start with getting to know you. I want our audience to know our students. Who are the people who transfer from other countries into Israel to learn economics? So I would just ask, my first question is directed to both of you. So you will just have to do it sequentially, answer it as you probably are very used to. Who will start? I'm going to ask, my question is, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you came from, and then we'll continue. Who wants to start, Adi or Noam?
I'll start.
Okay.
Okay, so we both were born in Israel and we moved to Chicago at a young age and we grew up here. And until high school, we went to a Jewish private school. So we've always been connected to Israel and to Judaism. And then we went to a public high school. And in high school, we also continued to stay active in this community. Noam was the head of the Hebrew Honor Society, and I was the head of Israel Club. And then for college, we decided to go to IDC, and this is where we're at now.
Okay, and let's hear about Noam's perspective.
Very similar. Like, we always have been connected to Israel, like Adi said, and that's why I made the decision, we'll talk about later, but like the decision to come to IDC was, well, now Reichman University was very like natural for us, even though growing up in the suburb here in Chicago, most people go to universities in the Midwest, and it's not even an option to do school abroad. Even a gap year is not very popular here. But for us, it came very naturally because we're so connected to Israel.
Have you been going to Israel back and forth when you were young, like for summers? Do you have relatives in Israel?
We have family in Israel on both my dad's side and my mom's side. So growing up, we used to go to Israel every summer for a month and a half, 2 months. So, yeah.
So that made it probably easier. By the way, do you speak Hebrew?
Yes, we do.
Oh, you do? I never spoke Hebrew with you guys, just so you see how international our program is. I didn't even realize you can speak Hebrew. That's very exciting. How was it for you to sort of transfer to a different country? I mean, you did know Israel, but all of a sudden living away from your family and, in a completely different culture. And let's now start with Noam. Noam, how was it for you?
So the initial move was very challenging, even though like we have all the family here and we speak the language. It is very hard. We came here right before we turned 18, so we were still 17, going to a different continent from your parents, and there's a time difference of 8 hours, so it's also, you can't always talk to them if there's problems. But right away we moved into the dorms, so we were surrounded by hundreds of people in the exact same position. They're all away from their parents for the first time, and all, even in harder circumstances, they may not speak Hebrew and they may not have support here. So it was hard for like a few days, and then it really was really fun once you meet everyone around you.
Do you agree? Do you have an additional insight about that?
Yeah, I agree with everything she said, of course. And I guess for me, the harder part was the deciding to come here, because it's so easy to just do what everyone else does in my community and just go to college an hour away from my family. And obviously, it's so much easier. Um, but so that was hard for me. But the second I got to IDC, to Reichman University, and I got accustomed to everything, and I met the students and the faculty, it just made the transition so much easier.
And tell me about your decisions to start, to your decision to start economics and business. I remember that you actually did not start in economics; you started with business.
Yeah, so basically, the reason I even heard about the school to begin with is because we were actually in our Hebrew class in high school, and a former student of our high school came to visit his Hebrew teacher. So he came and he was telling the class, after I graduated from high school, I went to college in Israel, and he actually went to IDC, and he was actually in business and economics. So I connected with him after the class, and I learned more about IDC and I researched it, and I realized that I'm interested in business. So I was looking between either business or business and economics. And I did choose business in the end because everyone told me that business and economics is so hard, and it kind of scared me, to be honest. But I came to Israel, and after the first day of the Mechina, the math prep course, I decided, you know what, like, I'm up for this challenge, and why not? If I don't do it now, I will never do it. And I thought that economics specifically was something that I was really interested in. I took a class in it in high school, and yeah, also it's not just like the numbers and all this hard math. It's really just like a lens to view the world. And I thought that this is like the perfect opportunity to learn this, if not now, when. And on top of that, also, after going to IDC, I realized that business and economics has smaller class sizes, which I thought was very cool because you have a more intimate connection with your lecturers and your classmates. And then also the last thing, I guess, that influenced their decision was the just practical aspects of the program, like the field trips and the guest lectures, and all that stuff.
Noam, it's so interesting. I'm just going to share with our viewers what I know and people don't know is that you guys are twins and you're doing everything together. And in fact, when you both signed up to business, you both came to me and said, no, we want to transfer in economics. Everything is done together. All the decisions are taken together. Many papers are written together. And both of you are really, really good students. So it's always a pleasure for me to work with both of you. And my only dream is to be able to distinguish between both of you. But anyway, Noam, tell me about you. So your sister just explained all what she thought. How was it for you?
Yeah, so most of it is the same. Another reason why we liked economics, specifically at Reichman University, is because if I was to go to school in America, and all of the schools that I did apply to in America, I didn't even consider economics. I thought business was a great degree, which it is. But being able to study economics at an international school, I think, is very cool because when you're in class, you hear about economic policies, and in the discussions, when you're talking to your classmates, they have different perspectives, like healthcare in Canada versus like something in America and in like Belgium. So it's super cool. I thought it would be very cool to study economics specifically in an international school, and it showed me that like I was right. It is like very interesting. You get so many perspectives because everyone here has different experiences. So that's why I was intrigued by economics, and I'm really happy that I switched into it.
Well, I can tell you that I'm very happy you switched into the program. You definitely contribute a lot, both of you. That's great. Okay, and tell me, so you had all these plans, and it seems that you came, from, you already knew Israel, and you do a lot of things that are not connected necessarily to profession. But did you have a dream job? How did you view this investment? When we think about, okay, we're going to study what's going to be the next goal. So did you have some dream program or some thoughts about that?
So actually, I never really had a dream job or something that I just wanted to be when I grow up, and I thought that actually studying business is a good path for that because it's so general and it gives me the tools to be able to go into any career that I choose after the degree. So actually, after I'm in my third year now, I still am not totally sure what I want to do, um, and I feel like there's a lot of pressure to know what career I want to go into because I'm graduating this year, and also a lot of the people in the program are older than me because they did the army or they took time off or they worked. So they're already established in the workforce. And I'm here, like I'm 20 years old and I don't even know what I want to do yet. So I think that my plan now is just to try out different things. And I think that it's nice that I studied business and economics because now I have so many tools that I feel like I have the ability to study whatever I want. To go into whatever I want, whether that be finance or marketing or data analysis or economics. And I think as of now, I'm really interested in data analysis because the classes that I took at IDC really opened my eyes to like this whole world of taking data and numbers and then extrapolating that and using that to find real world implications like we're doing in our economic policy seminar, like we do in data analysis with R, with SQL, with Excel. So I really like that. I think that's the path for now.
Excellent. I think you're gonna find a lot of opportunities. I must say, today it's a really desired skills and qualifications. And Noam, what is
Yeah.
your dream job?
So again, very similar to Adi. I don't have a specific thing that I've wanted to do or like that I've always wanted to do, and especially because so far I've had some work experience, like I worked at a bank, and it's like, but not a real internship or not a real job. So we're actually doing co-op this next semester, so that'll be our first opportunity, and it's a really cool experience that Reichman University has to offer. So we're gonna do sales development role because we thought, like you don't know what you don't like if you don't try it. So we'll try that. And my goal is just to do as many different positions as I can, even if like they don't particularly interest me, I never know. And then through that, hopefully I can find something that I like more. And like Adi, I actually, after the data analysis classes, I realized I also very much like that. So hopefully we go on that path.
Yeah, I would just explain to the listeners what is co-op. Co-op is a program of internships in internship for academic credit in Reichman University, which allows the students, I think, to work twice a week, if I'm not mistaken, while studying. So that's definitely, a good blend and a way to sort of experience all kind of jobs out there. So that's definitely sounds to me like a really good plan and a good way to sort of, start to understand what you're interested in, what you're good at. So that's very exciting. While at IDC, now it's your third year. You're actually close to completion. You have like one more semester. Can you tell us a little bit about the student life in IDC?
Sure, I could start. So when we first started IDC, it was very normal. It was before Corona, and we had, like, Corona started our second semester of our first year. So we had a few months to meet people from around the world and to actually experience Israeli lifestyle and culture. And it was super fun in those few months. And then once Corona started, obviously it was a lot harder academically and socially. But now that we see Corona isn't going away, we've adapted to it. And I think specifically at Reichman University, the student life is so fun just because everyone is in the same position and it's like a very small community compared to other universities. You really get very close to your classmates, and there's people who are significantly older than me or younger than me, and you don't even feel that. You're all going through the same thing. So it's very fun, and it's also, what adds to it is that, especially compared to other universities, you're very much on your own and independent. I can't just go home because it's a very big like process to get home to America. So I really have to figure out how to work with the bank and how to, like if I need to move apartments. And when you do that with other people, you get very close to them. So I think naturally, just studying here, you become very close to your peers, and it's a very fun environment. And just being in Israel, you can do so much things around Tel Aviv. You could go to day trips in the north. It's super fun.
Adi, how do you experience it?
Yeah, very similar. Again, it's very nice to have so many, like such a diverse group of people, and it's like someone could be 10 years older than me, but still they're also in their third year of the undergrad, or someone could be from Brazil and I'm from Chicago, and we're still together in the same degree in the same year. So even though everyone is so different, we all bond so well together because we're all going through the same thing, and everybody's so open to helping each other. Everyone has group chats with their classes and their majors, and yeah, just it's been a very good experience so far.
Have you participated in any clubs?
Yes, so our first semester of our first year, we started Ambassadors Club. Super fun. We heard lots of different established guest speakers. And then we also did Project OR, which is like Israel advocacy online, which was super fun. And unfortunately, when Corona started, they either stopped or went online, and we were stuck in Chicago. So it was hard for us to join like weekly meetings in the middle of the night because we were already doing school in the middle of the night. So we had to stop it, and we like stopped during Corona. And then when we came back, we weren't able to continue, but we tried to take advantage of other opportunities. So we like, volunteer, and we're doing co-op. So we still want to be involved and take advantage of the opportunities at Reichman University because there's so many.
What kind of volunteers did you do?
We do in our first year and our second year, we were actually tutoring students in middle schools. We were teaching them English. So that was really nice. It was in person at first, and then it got moved to Zoom. And then we also, from our first year, and we're still doing it now, we volunteer at a lone soldier house, which is also cool because we continue to meet people who are from around the world, but instead of going to university, they just joined the army.
Wow, I didn't even know about that one. I didn't know about the middle school
Yeah.
tutoring, but I didn't know about the lone soldier. So what kind of volunteer do you do with the lone soldier community?
I think there are a few locations, but we go to Ranana. It's a place called Habai Chilbanji, and it's just a place for specifically combat lone soldiers to go when they're off base. And we just kind of sit at the front desk, let people in and out of the house, make sure everything's good, if people need keys to their room or whatever. And we mainly just hang out with the soldiers, and it's really interesting to get to know everyone.
Wow, very interesting. First, I'm happy to hear, that the all the good things that you experienced, because I think you guys during your time was Corona pandemic. I think it was really hard, and it's lovely to see how you do succeed to, make the most out of it. So that's exciting. What is your favorite class now that you're almost done with your degree? What is your favorite class? And don't choose my class just to be nice. It's like just kidding. Yes. What is your favorite class?
Okay, so I really liked learning to use R because I didn't sign up for computer science, and it's not what I initially thought I could do. But R is a computer language, and I actually really liked it because it wasn't just typing code; it was taking data, any data I want, and then I could analyze it, and it was really fun for me. But I'm not just saying this because you're here, but I actually very much enjoy the policy paper year-long class because it's super fun. Like me and Adi both are working together. We chose to talk about the problems with the prison system in America, and that's something that we're both interested in. In our free time, we always watch documentaries and listen to podcasts about it. So it's super fun having a year-long class where you can choose a topic that you actually are interested in, and you use tools like R, which I like from second year, and you just analyze it. We both also like writing, and you got to write a lot. So I think that combination is fun.
Fantastic. Adi, what is your favorite?
I would say that I actually really enjoyed the financial modeling class this year. And it was interesting to me because in our second year, we got to choose between specializing in finance or in marketing. And I chose marketing because I just really didn't like finance. But this year I'm taking a bunch of finance classes, and I actually do realize that I actually do enjoy it. So it was cool to take a class where I went into it thinking, oh, this is going to be another class that I just don't like. And I actually really did enjoy it. I thought it was super well taught. So I really enjoyed that class.
Fantastic. By the way, going back to your paper, I think it's interesting to mention a little bit what was the question, because a lot of people think about economics as something that is only about money. But you studied something very, very social and like big picture question that affects society. So would you like to share a little bit about it?
Okay, so our question is how can existing US policies change or improve to solve the recidivism problem among juvenile offenders in America? So we're basically looking at current policies in the US and also comparing it to other countries, like, for example, Australia, and seeing why do so many people who come to prison and leave prison end up coming back, and why does that system continue? And like I said before, economics is not just about money and numbers. It's really, I mean, it is a lot about numbers, but it's not only about that. It's about actually behavior and how things work and how the world works. So like that question doesn't seem like it has to do with money, but in reality, we're looking at data, we're looking at the numbers, and based on that, we're able to come to a conclusion regarding policy, which has nothing to do with numbers or money at all.
Well, it is related to money, right? Because it's sort of public spending many times, the cost of prisons and so on.
Yeah. That's something that we're looking at. That's part of the data that we're looking at. But I'm saying, like, in terms of the actual policy that we'd end up recommending, like what kind of policy works, that doesn't seem like it's quantitative. It seems just qualitative. Like, okay, implement this program. But really, that the reason why we would be recommending that is because of the cost and because of the numbers and because of the trends and the patterns that we're seeing in the numbers.
Mm-hmm. Noam, what would you like to add?
Yeah, so we knew we wanted to do something about prisons because we both are interested in it. But we actually even had conversations with our teacher for academic writing, who helps this class, and we were confused if this was even economic enough. And what we realized is that prison itself may not seem to be economic related, but if people when they leave prison are just going back to prison and aren't entering the workforce, then it drives down human capital, which hurts the economy. And there's so many factors that do affect the economy that you don't even think about. It's not just people in prison, but it's people in prison who are not supposed to be in prison, like who we don't think should be. So they should be working. So it's very, very much connected to economics, which I think you can connect many things. I know someone, he's doing a question about salmon, I think, about fish. And I was like, how is that economic? And he told me, and it actually is, like, everything is connected to economics.
Mm-hmm, that's true. I have to ask you, how come you're so interested in prison? Two nice girls like you. How did you start to be interested in prison so much?
I think a lot of my friends who, like, you wouldn't expect, a lot of people are actually interested in it. We like to watch, like, all of Netflix has so many documentaries about, like, unsolved or solved, and it's super fun to listen to. Actually, I don't even know why. I'm just interested in, like, I guess it's also psychological. I'm interested in, like, why people, like, do these things, and, like, if there's, like, chances of rehabilitation, and, like, just all of, like, these moral problems and all these behavioral problems. It's just super cool. It's very interesting. And, like, it's when you're just living your life, it's very disconnected, but it's a huge part of, like, of every country. So.
No, Adi, do you want to add your interest, the source of your interest to prison?
Yeah, I mean, the same thing. Like, I watch Netflix documentaries about it, and I realized, like, okay, all these people do crazy things and go to prison. So when they, like, how do they leave, and then why do they come back? So there's so many questions that you don't think about. And yeah, like Noam said, everything connects to economics, and it's cool to be able to learn that and do it hands-on and do it with a subject that I'm actually interested in. So yeah.
I think it's also very important, because if you do succeed to find the right policy, it's definitely something that can help policymakers. So that's really exciting. And I think, well, wow, we nearly really need to finish, but I'm going to ask you about the future of learning in your opinion. So I know both of you are really good students and like learning. And I wonder, how do you view the future of university? You are now in a certain environment and everybody's talking about what will be in the future. Maybe there would not be university and people will study online. How would it be? Nobody knows. If you want to contribute your thinking about what is possible, what would be desirable, or, things like that, just thought about this idea.
So I think now that we have hybrid, I can't imagine not having hybrid. Like my brother is in high school here that I just came home to, and if he misses a lesson in class, it's not recorded. He can't just watch it. And it's like, how did I do that my whole life? It's so weird. Like everything is recorded. I could just watch it whenever. So I think hybrid, like not fully online. I think a lot of people study better in a classroom like me. And if we can be in person, we should be. But I think incorporating some sort of hybrid is super nice. Recording the classes or letting people who are sick not just miss the whole class, like watching from home at a later time or at the same time. And yeah, so I think the biggest thing that should be changed now that we've experienced Corona is that hybrid should be very much incorporated to school, like higher education, and also in high schools, middle schools. So
Adi,
and I also agree. I think that now that people have a taste of what it's like to have that hybrid format, they don't want to go back. They don't want to they don't want to, have to go to school when they're sick and then or not go to school but then miss a class. So I think that having that option is going to be nice now in the future, and I hope it stays. And also, I think that a lot of people realize that they learn differently, and we've had so many different types of learning experiences now that although I think many people prefer the traditional classroom setting, a lot of people actually find that working from home is easier for them and learning from home is easier. Like I actually like Zoom and I enjoy it. So I think that nothing should be forced now. Now that classes can be in person, they can be, but there should always remain that option. So if someone wants to stay home, then they can stay home. That's their decision. Yeah, I don't think that's going away now that people have tried it. I don't think it'll go away.
Yeah, it sounds like it, absolutely. But do you still think they should be like classes, like real presence classes?
Yeah, I think that of course the best way to learn is to be in an environment of learning and to talk and to be surrounded by classmates and be in person with your professor, or else it's so disconnected and it's easy to just I'm on Zoom, I could easily pull out my phone and just turn down the lecture, the volume. But in person you're actually more engaged, and of course that's the optimal way to learn. I'm just saying that hybrid and online should be an option. But of course, I think that, yeah, classroom should remain. And, we could think of different ways to improve the classroom experience. But definitely that should always remain in place, physical, active learning.
Mm-hmm. Noam, you want to add something?
Yeah, I think ideally the people learning from home should be the ones like if you're sick, you don't want to miss class. But of course, encourage people to be live in person. But just knowing that you have the little comfort, not even if you like want to stay home. For example, people study for finals and they went to class, but they just want to rewatch a lecture, and now it's recorded. So it's nice just to have hybrid there and like recorded lessons, just to like enhance the experience. But I think obviously it should be encouraged to be live, and because that's the most active way to learn. It's not just passively sitting at home.
Thank you. Wow, that's so interesting to hear like your views, overall. And before I'm going to finish, I'm just curious. What do you think you're going out? Like you have now almost only a few months to finish. What do you think you're going out with after these 3 years? Because I would imagine that, when you started, you said, okay, I want to have education, to have a good job, to have good money, to have a thing. But what do you feel that, how do you feel that you've transformed throughout these 3 years?
I think that, like, of course, I'm going to remember the content of my classes. Like, I'm going to remember how to use, like, R. I'm going to remember micro, macro. But the main thing is, like, when I started at Reichman University, I just came from high school. I lived at home. I never did laundry, and now that I came out, I feel like I gained a lot of skills just, like, being independent and like the main thing I learned from school isn't just the content, but it's time management, how to study for finals, when I should go to sleep so I feel, awake during my classes. So just all of these things that I learned, I never thought I would learn just from, going to school on my own. And that's what I really learned. And just like, I still don't even know exactly what I want to do, like I said, but just knowing how to approach it instead of being scared by it. Like I just signed up for an internship and I'll just see how it goes. So I think just being open to experiences, not being afraid to fail, and just all of like these very useful skills from school and out of school.
Um, I agree that I think what I'll take away from the degree is beyond just the content. Of course, I feel much smarter. Like I feel like I know more things academically, but also the actual life skills that I've learned. And Noam talked about a lot of the practical things. I think another major lesson that I'll come out with is just how to interact with different kinds of people and the value of different experiences and a diverse group of people. It's really helped me because I think that all of high school and still I struggle with, liking to do things by myself and like doing it my way. And I think that this degree in IDC and Reichman University in general just taught me how to collaborate with people and how different viewpoints can really add to what I'm thinking and collaboration with different types of people.
Yeah, like group work and teamwork and
Group
things like
work.
that.
Yes, yes.
Wow, I think we learned so much about your world. Thank you so much. I think we are done with time. I can even tell you that I think that they want us to go because I feel like the air condition is off. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm all of a sudden start to freeze here. I don't know. Anyway, but I want to thank you so much for coming and waking up really, really early in Chicago to join me in this podcast. It was just lovely to talk with you and to learn so much about how you see this degree and what you learned, and your life here in Israel in an international community. And I'm happy that you feel that it was not a waste of time, but actually a very enriching time. So that's really nice to hear this overview. So I really thank you. And and I'm going to just finish to our audience that this was another episode 3 of The Future Economist, for all those people who have no clue what economists do. So you got some insights about our world. And you're welcome to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you watched up in YouTube, we're in all the platforms of the podcast, Spotify and whatever. And looking forward to the next episode. So bye-bye. Bye-bye, people.